There's one topic in town and one topic only that matters currently, and that's should Saquon Barkley play Week 18? I have a very firm stance, okay? I am not playing anybody, but DK, you are conflicted here, and I feel we need to bite into this a little bit. So why don't you tell the people where you are, how you're handling this emotionally? Because every time I talk to you, I get a different answer. I think he should. Nah, you know what? He shouldn't. What's going on in that head of yours?
I need everyone's help because I am flip-flopping like no other. And I'm not usually like that when it comes to my stances and opinions on Philadelphia sports. I was very hard-nosed, a definitive. You absolutely do not play him just to get this rushing record throughout the whole season. And I'm talking like early on when we first started having these conversations. I might be changing my mind. After being at the game on Sunday and watching how electric it was and how awesome it was to see his teammates, to see how happy Saquon was to make the 2,000 club, I'm like, it would be really cool to make history. It would be really cool to solidify himself in not just Eagles history, but NFL football history for him and this offensive line and this offense. And it's like, how can you take that away from him? And I know this game doesn't matter, but I just think that Saquon deserves it, and we deserve it as fans to be able to witness that at home, too, at the Link. But then I'm like, oh. What if he gets injured? You know, does it really matter? It's 101 yards. I don't know, Brodes. Where are you at?
All right, listen. So I'll tell you what. When you first said that, my initial reaction was, so you already got that. You got the cool electric 2,000 yards. You got his reaction with his teammates, the Link going crazy. You got it already.
You did get that.
You don't need it again. We got it already.
But it's not the same. It's not the same.
No, I almost feel, hear me out. I almost feel that if he was to go get this record on Sunday, it would be like Bronny James and LeBron for the first time on the floor as the Lakers. It was fugazi as hell. This record is go get your 100 and then sit down because this game's irrelevant. It's almost like let's just let's just put him out there, go get it, ho-hum, and then it is what it is. It doesn't feel natural or organic to me. That's number one. And number two,
it doesn't have to feel natural or organic.
It doesn't feel natural.
Yes, it does.
This game doesn't matter. This game doesn't matter. So it's solely the purpose of the technicality of the number, more so than the game really having a purpose for Saquon to go do his thing. Sort of like Bronny James. It was just a technicality to have that moment with his father.
First of all, how dare you compare Saquon Barkley to Bronny James and LeBron, because I hated that whole thing. It was fugazi, as you say.
All right.
I don't look at it that way. I look at it as an opportunity to solidify himself as a future Hall of Famer, to make history. And then imagine if they break this record. And by they, I'm talking about the whole offense, mainly the O-line and Saquon, because you know that for the majority, they want to go get it. I know Lane Johnson kind of said he wanted to rest. He's been playing for over a decade. Understandable. And then they go on and win the Super Bowl. I mean, like, that you can't get better than that. Like that is a history-making season, and I would just love to be able to witness that. And that's where I'm conflicted, because I feel like it's potentially a bit selfish of me as a fan, and maybe fans who are all for this who want him to go get it, because I think it would be really cool to be able to witness that as an Eagles fan, and it would be the perfect cherry on top of Saquon's first season as an Eagle, where it feels like he really was in jail in New York. You know, he didn't even know what a hat and T-shirt game was until Sunday. Like, that's sad. And he's so happy here, and he said that over and over again. He's got his confidence back, and I just think breaking this record would be the perfect way to finish off the regular season and go into the postseason.
All right, I hear which way you're leading.
Is that selfish?
You told me conflicted. I say you're a liar, because you clearly want this man to go play. And here's what I'll say.
But then I don't.
No,
if he gets injured, I never said that.
Nope, you do. You do. It's definitely the direction of the program. All right, so my thing with this whole his season is special thing that doesn't sit right with me is you're telling me, as an Eagles fan, when you reflect back on 2024, The difference in this season being magical is this game against the Giants. It's not having that game where he had 300 yards, or it's not the game where he runs and jumps over somebody backwards. It's only if he gets 100 yards in a useless game against the Giants. The season was special. It already is wrapped up with a little holiday bow tied on it. It was special. This game shouldn't really define how special it is or not. It's already special.
It is already special, but don't you think it would solidify itself in the history books of not just Philadelphia, but the league if he broke this record? This season and how special it was would be remembered by every football fan until it's broken in years to come, I'm sure. I know Eric Dickerson wants his son to break it or whatever, but I just think that it would really solidify just how great Saquon is and how great he's been this season for the Eagles if he were to break this record.
I don't know, because when we talk about all-time great running backs, it's Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, LT.
And it would put Saquon up there.
But I think he's there.
We do in Philadelphia, but I think it would put him up there for everyone else.
You think that there's people around the league or fans outside of the city that don't look at Saquon like that?
They might think he's great, but they'll say, well, Christian McCaffrey's better when he's healthy. Derrick Henry's better.
Well, they don't have brain cells. 215-592-9494. I want to say it's time to sway DK, but I think she already knows how she feels. Now, let's take a listen to Adam Schefter, who was on the Pat McAfee show, and he gave his insight on how Nick Sirianni might play this. Take a listen.
We have not heard official word from the Eagles, but I think that everything that they've said and done speaks volumes. As soon as Saquon Barkley went over 2,000 yards yesterday and got to 2,003, he came right out of the game. They didn't leave him in there to continue his chase of Eric Dickerson. They got him right out of the game after that run, and he was put on ice. And now he's one of 9 running backs in NFL history to go over 2,000. And after the game, they asked him about it, and he's like, hey, we've got bigger things in mind. They've asked Nick Sirianni. We're not thinking about that. As I said yesterday, as I said this week, I'd be floored. The Eagles, they're not going to have a bye. I think that Saquon's going to be put in bubble wrap next week, and then he'll be unwrapped for the wild card game.
I always said Adam Schefter was the smartest man on planet Earth outside of myself.
Did you always say that?
Yep, that is correct. It really is. It's an easy decision, but a hard and difficult conversation to have with somebody, knowing that there are real emotions in play here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play him. If there was no record, they're not playing him. You agree with that?
No, absolutely not.
Then what are we doing?
Agree.
Then what are we doing here?
Well, there is a record. That's what we're doing here.
But does anyone ever truly think about that record ever?
Well,
unless it's about to be broken?
No, but it doesn't matter. Like that, it will be thought about by football minds, by fans then when the next guy comes along. Like, think about how many times we've mentioned Eric Dickerson's name. I've never thought about Eric Dickerson in my life until this season. And now I think I've said his name like 100 times. Right? And I'm not saying that's something to strive for, but I'm saying it would recognize the greatness and effort and just incredible player and athlete that Saquon Barkley is. And I'm not saying, so it sounds like I'm all for this and I'm not. And I want to explain that. If I were to find out that they're not playing him, which honestly, like now a day out, yesterday I was even more gung-ho on going for the record because we were fresh off the game, on that high, the 41-7 win. The further we get from it, the more I'm like, okay, well, maybe they should rest. They don't have the bye, as Adam Schefter said. They do need to rest. So I could be swayed. I would be okay if you came to me on Friday and said, hey, he's not going to play. I'd be like, okay, that's fine.
Now, I'm fascinated to hear fans out there at 215-592-9494 where they stand on this all, because I really don't even see a benefit of it, because I appreciate and respect the season so much through 17 weeks that this Week 18 game won't change my perception of it long term. It won't change my thoughts of it 20 years from now when I tell my daughter, who just turned 1, she'll be 21. Oh, God bless me. And I'll be saying, Saquon Barkley in 2024 had 2,000 rushing yards, and he was special. this week 18, that won't change how special of a year it was, especially if they hoist a Lombardi. But let me ask you this, DK. If they were to lose in the playoffs and not win it all, but he ends up getting this record, there's no way you're going to look back on this year with any sort of positivity because the sting and the pain hurts so much.
No, it'll almost make it worse, right?
Exactly.
Because it's like, oh, yeah, that record-breaking year, and then the Eagles didn't win it all. What a waste.
See what I'm saying? All right.
You're right. I can be swayed the other way. I really can.
I hope so, because we got a long time here. 215-592-9494. That's where we get started on this Tuesday morning. It's Brodes and Devan Kaney in with you on the morning show. 215-592-9494. Where do you stand on Saquon Barkley? Do you want him to play? Do you not want him to play? It's simple for me. No, please do not lace up those cleats. We're just getting started right here on 94 WIP. Welcome back, everybody. It's Brodes and DK in for the morning show. We're just getting started. Wow. All right. We are talking about the Birds, of course, and we want to know how you feel about Saquon Barkley because I think it's a no-brainer. He should not play. Jalen should not play. No starter should play. And Devin is conflicted. So it's on you to sway her in any direction that you feel is necessary. Although I do have the upper hand considering we're on today for 4 hours, Thursday for 4 hours, Friday for 4 hours, and I will be drilling into your head how stupid it is for Saquon to get some carries. But look, we have a Twitter poll to get to, and our Twitter poll question of the day is sponsored by Armin Chevrolet, wishing their employees, customers, and WIP listeners happy holidays and a healthy new year. Together, let's drive to Armin Chevrolet. DK, what is our Twitter poll today?
All right, well, if you want to vote on this, it's on WIP Morning Show's Twitter page. Is getting over 100 yards versus New York the difference in Saquon's season being special for you?
Now, how would you answer this?
So no, because it's a special season as is. It would solidify the special season in the history books.
Yeah.
It would make us remember how special this season was, and not just us, the entire league and football fans for years and years to come.
All right. If that's how you really feel about it, we'll take your calls. We are going to open up our side topic of the show. All right, so it's New Year's Eve. I can't believe it.
It is New Year's Eve. That's crazy.
New Year's Eve. All right, so there's going to be recency bias in play. You know what? We'll give our answers first, and then I'll give you the little caveat, if you will. But who was your favorite Philadelphia athlete in 2024 to watch? That is our side question. Now, I'll go first. I mean, it's the Russian. It's number 39. It's Matvey Michkov. You kidding me? You should know, DK. You're down at the barn, all right? That place is rocking because of Michkov.
It is. It is. And I love our who's the best rookie in Philadelphia debate because it's crazy and so cool that we have so many rookies to choose from. I have to say in terms of just like impact, especially long-term and what they'll do for the team as an individual, Michkov has to be the winner always, like no matter what Quinyon Mitchell has done, which is incredible as well. I mean, we'll see what Andy Painter can do, too. I guess he technically counts as a rookie, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Michkov is amazing. We're going to take this one off the board because otherwise everyone would say Saquon Barkley. I mean, watching him has been an absolute delight. I still can't believe he's ours in Philadelphia. Not only that, he seems the happiest he's ever been in his NFL career. He's playing incredibly well. I mean, I don't need to go on here. Saquon Barkley, best athlete in Philadelphia in 2024.
All right, listen, it's hard to argue that. Of course, we will take that one answer.
Get creative with your answers,
yeah,
too.
I mean, get creative. Do a little dance, whatever. I don't know what that even means. Anyway, just, you can't say Saquon, but you can say everybody else, and there will be repeats, and that's okay. So let's go to the phones, 215-592-9494. Do a little dance. What the hell was that?
I don't know, man.
Let's go to Bernie in Oxford. What's up, Bernie?
Hey, how we doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. Sorry about the noise in the background, but real quick, I'll make a point and then I'll let you go. Could you imagine a scenario if Kenny Gainwell gets 150 yards rushing against the Giants? We rest Barkley, we go into the playoffs, and we lose the first game.
Yeah.
We got none of the two. We can get both, but we can also lose both.
But
And
would that be awesome? If they lose the first round, Bernie, you're telling me your reaction would be at least we got that all-time rushing record? That would be your first thought?
No, you misunderstood. If we rest Barkley, Kenny Gainwell gets 150 yards against the Giants instead of Barkley.
Yeah.
And we lose the first round of the playoffs. We didn't go for the record, and we didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but once again, I understood. I think it's pretty clear that if they lose in the first round, we got way bigger issues with our franchise than I can't believe Saquon didn't get the record.
Well,
I also don't know how much Kenny would play.
The point would be we could have had the record at least.
Yeah,
and
but
if we go for the record, that doesn't mean we don't make it to the Super Bowl.
I know.
That
But how much are you going to and thanks, Bernie. There is a little background noise there, so I greatly appreciate it.
Like, we don't even know if Kenny plays, if he would, be in enough to rush for 100 yards. It's not like Kenny Gainwell is doing that. Like, to Saquon, and that's another point, like, 100, I know 100, it's 101 yards, sounds like a decent amount, but for Saquon, like, that's how good he's been this season, is like, that's not that much for him. Like, he could probably get that, maybe even in 3 quarters.
Oh, yeah, he could
maybe
probably
in the first half.
He could probably get it in the first half, especially if that's the clear emphasis.
Yeah,
but DK, real quick, this is where I'm at with the whole, if they lose in the first round and then we don't get either. If they lose in the first round, I think this team could win the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose in the first round, that's absolutely not going to be the first thought. Oh, man, they should have gone for the record.
I mean, I have so many questions that need some serious answers. The whole, that's almost as if, to me, when I hear a call like that, and look, that's not the only time I've heard that take. That is a stance that has been on these airwaves for a whole day now or so. If they were to lose early in the playoffs and Saquon gets that record, no one's holding their hat on that record. No one thinks about any of these Philly seasons with positive light. No one even talks about the special MVP season.
Embiid.
Well, yeah, Embiid, yeah, there you go. There's another good example. Thank you. But also, MVP in 2022 was Jalen Hurts until the end. You lost the Super Bowl. We think of the fumble. We think of a double-digit lead and then failing to the Chiefs. We don't ever reflect back to 2022 with any sort of positive light. Once you lose, any of that positivity and feel-good normally turns to suffering.
Yeah. No, and look, that's a good example. Joel Embiid won MVP, and it's great, and you're happy for them. And it's interesting. I say this about myself. It's interesting that I think that I'm kind of swaying more pro let Saquon go after the record, because MVP awards and individual player awards have just never... I never understood why people kind of obsess over them. I know that there's value from a betting standpoint. But at the end of the day, it's great if a Philly athlete wins MVP or Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, what have you. But I'm like, why do we care so much? Like, I want a Super Bowl. I want an NBA championship. I want a World Series. I don't really care about an MVP award at the end of the day. And yet I still find myself kind of thinking how cool it would be if Saquon got this record.
So I look at it this way, and I like that you brought it up. It's more for me the fact that they had an MVP-like season or a season that is on pace to break a record. That's enough for me.
Right.
So if someone gets screwed, if Zach Wheeler doesn't win the Cy Young, but he should have, and he's
I'm not losing sleep over it.
Right. The fact that I got to watch a season that was Cy Young-esque, then I'm good. And same with Saquon. The fact that through 17 weeks, I got what I got, and it was on pace to break it and all this stuff, I got what I was looking for, which was greatness out of Saquon. That's enough for me.
Right.
Now, maybe I'm flawed.
You're not flawed.
Well, some would say.
You're great, bro.
Some would say. Let's go to Bruce in Horsham. Good morning, Bruce.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's happening?
How we making out?
Good.
Not a whole lot. All right, so congratulations, Devin. Just want to congratulate you on your new position there.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right, so Brodes, I got a question for you.
Hit me.
Did you and Spike Eskin, as kids, in gym class, when it was dodgeball, on picture day, did you guys sit out because you were afraid to get hit in the face and get hurt?
No.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't understand this.
Well, it's not about injury. It's just about rest for me.
No.
You can't say no when I'm telling you. For me, it's not about injury. It's just about rest.
They're professional athletes. He doesn't need the rest.
Well, you can say he doesn't need it, but Nick Sirianni's about to show you he needs it when he makes the decision not to play him.
Let me ask you a question. If Bryce Harper was chasing the home run championship for the season, and we're coming up the day, two games before, a game or two before playoffs, and they decided to rest Bryce Harper because he needed a day of rest.
Well, I don't think baseball relates to the physicality of the sport of football.
Second, Bryce Harper's accident prone. He gets hit by pitches all the time.
You're right. Listen, and you know what? You could talk me into me saying yes. Yes, he might need a day or two off.
I'm not trying to talk you into it, but my thing with Saquon is, okay, the likelihood of us, and I'm diehard Philadelphia, all sports fans, the likelihood of us winning the Super Bowl, it's a long shot. The likelihood of us getting to the Super Bowl, yeah, we have a greater chance at that. But the likelihood of Saquon Barkley making history with his teammates is right there. That's
really?
Actual.
So that moves the needle for you that much. Well, they're going to put a banner at the link for Saquon, and that's going to move the needle for you.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, we've been down this road before. Phillies were supposed to go to the World Series, and look what happened.
Yeah, but even if they had a historic season.
Eagles had the Super Bowl wrapped up against Kansas City. And look what happened.
Right, but
so
so Saquon and 100 yards against the Giants, you're not going to care about that if they lose.
That's not true.
All right, then you will care about it.
Because the likelihood of us actually winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, this is
listen, it's great. It's great as a fan. It's great as a fan to want it. It's great as a fan to want it. But the likelihood of it is slim chance.
So you're punting the Super Bowl run, Bruce? That's disgusting. Disgusting! That was the worst take I've heard about Saquon. He literally just said, we're not very likely to win, therefore I'll take the consolation prize of a regular season award. Woof! I'm sorry.
That was a pretty rough take.
And look, I appreciate everybody who chimes in. I do love you. I really do. I appreciate your time, but I can only take so much filth.
I disagree also with what he said. You know what? I don't even... I know. But to his point about winning and going to the Super Bowl and how their chances are low, I feel like our chances of making it to the Super Bowl are less than us winning the Super Bowl, if that makes sense, because the NFC is so good this season. So the path is hard, but I think if the Eagles get there, which hopefully they do, I think they'll win, if that makes sense.
I got to recover.
I think the NFC is so much better than the AFC. So whatever. Bad take all around, but love you. Thanks for the call.
I do appreciate everyone who chimes in. I'm probably going to fight with a lot of you, but I love you.
And thanks for the new drops with the disgusting.
Yeah, that was a really good. You hit the high notes, Brodes.
Really high. Like that was your best, probably.
What a range.
Yeah, that was a great performance, honestly.
I'm uncomfortable. 215-592-9494. Where do you stand on this? Woo! I'm sweating. That made me so nauseous. Coming up next, Jordan Mailata weighed in on the situation. You'll hear from the left tackle. It's Brodes and DK filling in for the morning show on 94 WIP. Coach Nick Sirianni is joining us now. Coach Sirianni is sponsored by Bud Light. Join Ava Graham at the Boathouse in Conshohocken Friday night for an Eagles pep rally. Win tickets to the Eagles game, merchandise, and meet Swoop on Friday night. All right, let's go to the head coach. What's going on, Coach? Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing good. All right, let's start here because I think it's getting overlooked a little bit. You guys did win the NFC East on Sunday, and I know that's one of many goals, but what's it mean to you and to this group in the locker room to be able to put that hat and T-shirt on?
Yeah, that's a cool feeling. You work really hard to do that, and there's three good other teams in this division, and I know everything that's talked about that nobody's ever won this division back to back. So you can see the parity in this division and all the good teams that it takes for that to happen for 20 years. So anytime you're able to do that and put that on and be remembered as one of the teams that have won that's a cool feeling. In our building we have a little area where it's just the NFC East champions and pictures of them up and all those different things. So it's cool that we'll add to that. We'll add to that wall, and but again, that feeling lasts, and it's exciting, and you gotta cherish that moment, but then it's on to the next one.
So we kind of have to ask this. Saquon and the starters on Sunday against the Giants. How do you weigh that decision, and what's the process like when it comes to making the decision to play him in the starters or not?
Yeah, everything's taken into account. We want to always do. I'm going to always do what's best for the team and the individuals. Going for that. So it's always something that's on my mind. It's something I haven't told the guys. I'm still thinking through a little bit of this too, but something I haven't told the guys yet. So I'll always let them know before I let anybody else know. But you take into a lot to account. Again, it's how do I, what's the best thing for the team, and then also what's the best for the individuals that are going for the record. If you think back a couple years ago to 2021, Smitty was going for the rookie receiving record. I think he was going to break Deshaun Jackson's rookie receiving record, and we thought that was and everybody else was resting, but we wanted or everyone else was whatever it was. We didn't play some other guys in that game, but we went and got him that record, and so every situation's a little different. Not saying one way or the other of how that's going to play out, or even that I've made a decision yet, but. Again, I got to tell the guys first when I do come to that decision, and I'll let you guys know. But a lot goes into it.
So you are the one ultimately making the final call on that?
I talk through everything with everybody, just like, I'll talk to our staff. I'll talk to the players. I'll talk to Howie. I'll talk to Mr. Laurie. I'll talk to everybody. And to try to make sure I'm making the best decision for the football team. And that's your job as a head coach is, whether that's practice schedules, whether that's playing an individual or, you kind of go in, Howie and I go in with everybody and talk through everything. And then we make the decision, whether that's in everything. That's what good organizations do. They use all their resources. They use all the people that have had decision-making experiences in the past, and you try to come up with the best decision, because all that matters is that you're coming up with the best decision for your team and for the individuals on your team and at the end of the day.
Coach, I love the way your football team plays, and I have big goals for this postseason run. How would you describe this team? Because it is a joy to watch, but I'm just curious, when you watch them play, how would you describe the personality of your unit?
Yeah, I think we're tough. I think we have a very mentally and physically tough football team. I think we're detailed, in the fundamentals of the game, and our situational play, and just everyone being on the same page. And I think that most definitely we're together. I think you see that, when the guys are celebrating together. Like you get to see that on Sunday when the guys make a play and they're celebrating together, or you also get to see that in the locker rooms when they're talking about each other. I mean, I'm always looking for stuff where they, this guy's praising this guy or this guy's praising that guy, because it shows the, togetherness of the team. But I get to see that on a daily basis of that togetherness. So, and again, at the end of the day, it's not the best it's not the best groups of individuals that win. It's the best teams that win, and the teams that come together. And so, again, that's one of our mottos is tough, detailed, together, and I definitely see this team as that.
When Saquon entered the 2000 club on Sunday against the Cowboys, you called a huddle. What did you say? What was the overall message to him and the guys in that?
I actually, it was one of those things, you call a timeout in those scenarios to allow everyone to appreciate. I obviously wouldn't have been able to do that if those timeouts were precious. In that particular case, I had a timeout there to have. There was about 10 minutes left to go in the game. And so you're able to just let everybody take a breath and realize how special it was, what everyone accomplished together. And so, I just had some high fives, and I didn't say much. I just wanted those guys to enjoy that moment together. I wanted the fans to be able to enjoy that moment, and Saquon to get, and the offensive line to get that standing ovation for accomplishing, 2,000 yards on a season that not many people have done. And so, when you're able to do something like that to recognize the guys and allow the city to recognize the guys, I think that's an important thing and a cool thing that they'll always remember.
We're talking to head coach Nick Sirianni. Coach, when you take a look at what this team was able to do on Sunday against Dallas at home, you know how much we despise that logo, we despise that team. That's got to be an incredible feeling when you're on the sidelines with the headset on and hearing 60,000 at the link. What's it mean to see 41 put up and just an obliteration against that organization at home?
You know, there was a couple times in that football game where we were in the huddle, and I couldn't tell if they were saying the refs suck or Dallas sucks. I think it was Dallas sucks. And
I think it was a mix.
It may have been a mix, but I thought the refs did a good job. So I was actually thinking it probably was Dallas sucks. But
there you go.
You know, so there was a couple times where it was like, hey, the passion of the fans was Dallas sucks, but we had to call a play in the huddle. I saw Lane Johnson and Kenny kind of quieting down the crowd to, hey, okay, we know Dallas sucks, so just make sure you quiet down just a little bit here. But no, it's cool. Anytime, I got a lot of respect for Dallas and that team and those coaches and those players. They're a good football team. They've won before this year, won 12 games in 3 years in a row. So we know they're a really good organization, good team. But so anytime you can get a win over them, you know, that's huge because it's our big rival. You know, we treat every game. You know, you guys would be disappointed as fans and in the media if we treated the Dallas game more than we treat the Panthers game, right? But so we treat every game the same. But it is cool once you get that win against a team that, you know, means so much to the city and to beat Dallas. So, you know, good win for us on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. Jalen Hurts did not get to witness that win in person. Do you have an update on his status, if he's cleared? Any chance he could see the field on Sunday?
Yeah, no new update on anything there. You know, we'll get you guys some more information here on Wednesday when the players are back in. So, but yeah, we'll see where we are with all that.
So, speaking of the quarterbacks here, what was the week like with Kenny Pickett? Obviously, there's been some reports about his ribs throughout the week, and Tanner McKee stepped in, and he seemed to be prepared for the moment. What was the week like leading up to this Dallas game with both of them?
Yeah, those guys prepared hard. You know, I know they always prepare like they're going to have to play because you never know. Like, you know, Kenny had to play against Washington when Jalen was injured. So, you know, so they prepare, and it's cool that they're able to go out there and show their preparation. Sometimes they don't get to do a lot. Most of the time they don't get to do that, but you know, in this case they did, and they worked hard. A lot of credit to to the coaches that got them ready, you know, Kellen and Kevin Patullo and Doug, our quarterback coach, all those guys that got them ready. But most of, you know, all the credit goes to those guys that put in the time all week, and, you know, with Kenny and Tanner. And, you know, and what was cool is, you know, we talked a lot about this before the game of, you know, you can't be great without the greatness of others. So Kenny, you're going to play good ball because you're a good player, but, you know, anybody in the sport of football, that's what makes football so cool. Anybody in the sport of football is going to need the contributions of others to help them play to their potential and to the max of their potential. And that's what we were able to see both those guys on Sunday, that they were able to play really good football because they got great contributions from their teammates. And that's football. That'll be football. That was football 50 years ago. That'll be football 50 years from now. That's football today. And that's what's so cool about this sport, that to be great, you truly need the greatness of others. And that's what you're trying. And that's what's, you know, you guys asked me earlier, what's the you know, what's cool about this team, or I can't remember how you asked it, but it's that you can't be great without the greatness of others. And it truly takes everybody. And that's what's so cool.
Coach, before we let you go, super quick one. Did you know what was going on the sidelines when AJ launched the football into the stands, or what was going on in your mind when you saw the, whatever you want to call that?
Yeah, no, I actually saw AJ throw the ball. I did. I was watching because, you know, and when celebrations, I'll do a couple high fives or whatever I do with, but then I'm like, get off the field. We got to kick this extra point. So it's in a head coach's mind. That's what you're thinking. Like, hey, we talk about this a lot actually, because, you know, we don't want to take a delay a game. So it's like, hey, make sure do your celebrations, be you, show your personality within the rules, but you got to do it within the time too, because Jake's got to get out there and take the extra point. I did see AJ throw the ball into the stands and I've seen AJ throw. AJ's got a really good arm, but he made it like
he launched
threw it across the stadium into the. I'm not sure he wouldn't have been able to that commercial of Jalen throwing the ball into the torch for the Olympics. I'm not sure he wouldn't have been able to make it into that, because he launched that thing. And then when we got to the sideline, somebody said something like, "Hey, that was Tanner's," and AJ put his hands on his face like, "Oh no." And it was kind of a funny moment. And glad they got the ball back for Tanner. And glad that fan was able to get a cool jersey out of it.
Yeah. Kelly Green. Kelly
what
Green
a negotiation.
Yeah, for sure. Coach, thank you so much. All great stuff, and we're really pulling for you the rest of the way. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thanks. Happy New Year.
Yes, you as well. That was head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni.